moderator for the discussion tonight. So we have a very experienced entrepreneur and angel investor here with us today. So later on we will have a moment to hear their stories as well as open the floor for question and answers. So to start, we will have two sessions. To start with, we will discuss with the Svida, and then later on we'll open the panel as well with the other speakers tonight. And today with the Svida, we would like to hear a little bit more about her experience as an angel investor working together with GEPI and ANGIN. So maybe Bu Svida, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here. And the audience are mixed.
Yes.
They're the incubators,
Entrepreneurs, enthusiasts, everyone was excited to meet you
and
tonight.
hopefully also new funders. That's important.
Right.
Okay. Well, my background is I come from I'm a publisher, CEO of Femina. The mission of our company and from the portfolio that we do is media. It's for the women betterment. So yes, we do business, of course, to be sustained, to make profit. But we should not forget where we come from. And that is about empowering women. That's when we started to do ANGIN. When Shinta approached me, Svida, can we start doing ANGIN, finding women in business who just started up and funded? Both of us agreed that for startup, it's not about giving funding. It's about also walking hand in hand, making sure that they are exposed to the next step, so that they can grow bigger and moving to the next step. As a background, in Femina, we also have initiative Femina Women Entrepreneurs. Femina Women Entrepreneurs have like really big community, about 20,000 all around Indonesia, that we have met face to face. We give them workshops, we give them seminars, not funding. Because in our research there are 4 steps: education, network, support, and funding. So when we talk about ANGIN, it is not only about funding. It will not go anywhere. Us as quote-unquote successful or have achieved a certain level of business experience would be better off if we just not giving funding. But there are more important things, that is sharing knowledge, sharing networks, opening up networks. It's not about me, that I'm in Femina, that I can give you Femina pages. But it's about, but I need to write a business plan. And so are my friends. Can you give me a workshop on writing a business plan? So I have a network in BCG, PwC, and just call them, one of their partners. Can you give a workshop on how to write a business plan? Amazingly, these organizations would be, and who are good in giving training about writing a business plan, they will just like, yes, we'll do it, and they do it on Saturday, pro bono. So those kind of thing is providing a network of what we do and meeting people to do network. And then support, and then funding. So going back to your question, this ANGIN is really built from women in business, for women who start business, for them to grow.
Thank you very much. So thank you for sharing the story about ANGIN, the background. But I think, understanding about Indonesia, the concept of angel investor itself is still very new. We heard about investing, we heard about taking capital, but the word angel investor itself is still somewhat come again, So maybe the question to you is, how did you first get to know about this idea of angel investing, and how do you personally feel interested? Why are you personally feel interested to be part of this as well?
Yes, I think, well, about the angel investors, it is about being an investor with heart. It's about additionally being an angel. So I mean, angel investor. So investor as an angel. So it's also with heart, with passion, with letting, hugging and walking together with the investee for them for their success. That is angel investor. That is in a very simple term. When we talk about the structure, we have limitation in Indonesian law. So that is a long story. That is about more how we can go around the legal limitation on that. Fortunately, we find a way of that. So the second question is.
So it's about after why are you personally interested?
Personally interested is because of where I come from. I mean, my background is being in a group, and we know of the four things, so we wanted to support women.
Okay. So maybe I'm going back to a bigger discussion about social business, because from your description about how ANGIN works, it's about supporting women, it's about supporting also ideas or business ideas that does not only fulfills profitability but also some social mission. So how do you see social business in Indonesia? What is your view? What is your looking at to the future? Is it something that's going to grow, or is it something just a hype that will suddenly disappear as a gimmick, as a business gimmick?
I think it's not about trend, it's not about mode, it's not about picking up trend. We are now living in a global world. Our responsibility of what we do is to the global prosperity. We are in a developing country, owe it so much to everyone in the world for a better world. Even more maybe from the developed country, looking at us as the developing countries, as one of the developing countries. However, coming from Indonesia, the idea of startup with social impact is about doing business with responsibilities. Someone looking at the business not purely for profit. There is more beauty in it. There is something that the startup, the business, the entrepreneur has a vision beyond profitability. Of course, in the story is profitability, sustainability, and the business sustain is the proposition of the business model is sustainable, but then the sustainability comes also because it brings social impact, because it remembers that where we come from, because it's a chain of it's a chain reaction coming from the down market, the lower market, or whether that comes from the field, whether that comes from the cotton weaver, whatever. So that comes from other places. No. If that person remember that, and the entrepreneur remembers where the business coming from, and have a special vision of it, that brings, maybe the wrong word, that brings quirkiness in the business model, but quirkiness in the nice way. And that's what we see, that's what we look for. If a business have a vision for the betterment of the surrounding, or where the chain reaction or the sourcing of the products have that model, and remember that is the model, but do not create a business model for profit, even more sustainability, then it is like CSR. on digging and digging for funding. But it's not about that. We give them fund for them to grow, to allow them to grow for a better company, responsible to the society, but also bring profit to themselves.
This is a very interesting definition or criteria about social business, I think, and I would like to take the privilege to pick this up a little bit more. So you were mentioning that the business model of a social business has to embed the social mission itself, right? So I think the question right now is, in your experience looking at different businesses in Indonesia, claiming themselves as social businesses, do you see, what do you see as their main challenges to prove themselves that yes, they are a social business? What are usually the challenges that you see to basically finally, lay themselves up front and say this is a business, social business?
They could sacrifice some of their margins because they make that for the sourcing, to also make money, to be sustainable also. They also could be the thing that they look at the production chain in a bigger picture, not to own the whole production chain. As a result, they start smaller, but they're talking about scale. And that is the challenge, scaling up. Because the business model is already good, but they scale up to make it sustainable with that model. But if they can make it, that would be good. So that could be varied. And I think that is a much better conversation with the entrepreneurs themselves who are in the business with social impact.
And in your experience as investor, from the investor side, after looking at the multiple options in front of you and determining that this is a social business that you would like to invest, what is actually your expectations? What do you wish to get in return?
It's ROI of 1,000%.
Of course.
But it is more important to see the ROI is shared between the sourcing, themselves, and us, the investors. Maybe sometimes when we look at it, us is the last one. We will be happy when they grow, we will be happy when they reach break-even, and then we will be happy when we can see our money back for something else further maybe.
That's very interesting. And in your peers, in your fellow investors discussion, do you see these traits of potential investors out there, a lot out there available, or you think you still need to, poke someone and say, hey, why don't you see investment this way, not the traditional ROI definition point of view?
Being in the ANGIN, there's no problem. ANGIN board members already believed in the model that they want to help. They want to see other women successful. And I am one of the least probably invest in time compared to the others. But some of fellow board members do really go to the outlets, orders the products in quantity, experience bad thing by ordering in quantity, and which give them input. So anything, we just love it here.
Okay, so is it more, are you saying that because it's more to the social driven cause that you state?
Yeah, exactly. One footnote, we talked about this. It is very hard to find an entrepreneur carrying social mission that has perseverance to bring profit. Or an entrepreneur carry social mission and have very special talent to give presentations, so they are adored by so many people that actually bring little return. So it is also our biggest challenge is to find the real entrepreneurs driven to create profit, but the profit is equate of social and themselves. It is hard. It is not easy.
So if I can take away from your point just earlier, so it's the drive of the entrepreneurs who can balance between profitability and social success. Is there anything else that you look at beyond the personality, the strong management, the strong leadership when you want to invest in a social entrepreneurship? Is there any other criteria that you think is also important for us to look at?
Of course, it's the growth potential. The growth potential is the most important thing. I mean, it's not the most, but the vision is one. And then what is it the growth that they have? And then the discussion is, if they view the growth is like that, if we view with our help, with our participation, the growth can be escalated or can be accelerated. That is the thing that we also see, and I think that is as important as what is the entrepreneur's vision. Because that is when we feel that our returns is not about what our money can make, but it's also about our participation and understanding of the business model and the systems.
I understand. One last question before I open the floor for question and answer. So, if you let's give a simulation in this room. We have entrepreneurs, we have social activists, we have everyone who would like also to look for investment. So, if you say that a lot of company that is actually struggling to look for investors, how would you see that? How does ANGIN start to measure, or what does ANGIN try to look at when, for instance, they're looking at Kakoa, for instance, they're looking at JAC or any other potential organizations looking for funding? Could you tell us at least the top 5 criteria? Or there's only one criteria?
The thing is, us sitting on the board, honestly, assisted so much by the organization of ANGIN. The organization of ANGIN is coming with companies that come to ANGIN, first of all. That is the first step. Second step, the GEPI and ANGIN doing the due diligence. Surya, please help me here.
Yes.
Then come the due diligence.
Yes.
And then the third step is presenting to us. They pitch with the help and training by GEPI and ANGIN. And then we take not veto. We take
Just consolidate and find one consensus.
Yeah, find consensus. I know the word. Finding consensus of whether this is on, this is not, whatever. And then if it's on, oh yeah, we can help it. Oh yeah, we can do that. So those kind of dialogue comes arising. And then the execution. Because of the limitation of the way to structure in the investment company, so there are some limitations to do as easy as, yeah, let's do that, and then how is the participation. But anyway, we do it around, we come around it, and we make the basket of the investment for the company. And then it's coming along, and every month, ANGIN is giving us report, and every month or bi-weekly, bi-monthly, some of us on the board coming to them, talking to the entrepreneurs, helping them, etc. Creating that. For example, Kakoa or some the nougat company. The nougat company said still haven't got the final deal with French market. And then one of the board members is family of the French market. And then, okay, let me finish, let me take from that and then try to clear it. So those kind of things happen and that is the network.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe related, not related, I'm also on the board of Endeavor. Endeavor is furthermore, so this is more of the level of the startup. And then once they go bigger and needs further assistance, and maybe it's a global assistant, then there is Endeavor also, where there is a different support. But their ANGIN is great for the beginning support, and then when it's reaching the inflection hopefully, then there is also Endeavor.
It's a very interesting point in the sense that ANGIN does not only look at the strong entrepreneurship, leadership, the strong management, the potential of growth, but also the potential for ANGIN to help. So that's also a very important criteria for ANGIN to, when selecting the potential.
Is that right? You want to add? Do you want to add?
Okay, here's the guy who does the diligence.
Thank you, Svida. So basically, I think everything has been covered by Svida. Yeah, you nailed it. But overall, when we look into the business, we look into the founder. That's the first thing that we look at. How are they relevant to the business, and how are they capable to manage the whole business and with all our support. And the second one, of course, how does the angels relate to the business itself? Because if you cannot relate, if the angels do not have the passion in the business, we may not be able to support them further. But I think that's the key criteria. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that explaining. Can we have a round of applause for Svida? So I think I would like to open the floor for questions. Maybe I would accept around 2 to 3 questions for this round. Maybe just to understand a little bit more about angel investing, about what does constitute social business from the perspective of investors' point of view, and get to know a little bit more what are the other criteria, the ones with that X factor that you haven't filled out, right? So if you still want to ask them that questions, we're opening the floor for questions for this round. Do we have questions? Yeah, one at the back. And that lady in the blue as well.
Yes.
Thank you. I was intrigued by your remarks earlier about difficulty in finding a social entrepreneur with a driven mindset to go for profit. I was wondering if it goes the other way around, where it's very difficult to find someone with a very high drive for profit, but minimum social goals. And the second part of the question is the difficulty also because the challenge of finding a way to make profit by solving social issues as equally as hard. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, Mas, boleh minta namanya?
I'm Bowo.
Mas?
Bowo.
Mas Bowo, yeah? So your question was, is it as hard to find more organization who is more profit-driven than social-driven? And is it possible that we have low social entrepreneurs today because it's not that easy solving social issues but still thinking about profitability? Maybe I'll keep that one question first and give Ibu Svida time to reflect. It's okay?
Company with higher profit possibility, less social, probably it's easier to find investors than with bigger social drive and to drive also as a company for profit. I think there are more opportunities, there are more funding on the profit-oriented companies than social impact, kind of companies with social impact. That is the first one.
And is it possible the reason why we have low social businesses is because it's hard to solve social issues while still thinking about it?
Yes, it is hard.
It is
That's why we are supporting them, and that's why we are looking for them. The next one. And it's not that easy to find that, because as I mentioned, otherwise that would be an NGO, a CSR company. But we don't want that. We want a company because it has a genius idea that carries social impact, but also economic.
All right. Thank you very much for the question. For the lady in the blue.
Hi, my name is Svida.
Sorry, can you turn on the microphone, please?
Hi, my name is Pita Mario. I own an art school here in Jakarta called Ganara Art Studio. And my company actually has, besides being an art school that teaches kids from a young age to adults, we also have a CSR program. It's called Mari Berbagi Seni, which teaches children, like street children and children with disabilities, how to create art. And my question is, it's actually similar to Mas Bowo's question, but actually, Ganara itself, our main goal is to be an art school that can have a bigger impact in the future for our children and for the children in Indonesia particularly. And would that be like the aspect that you mentioned before, or the ANGIN?
Education is definitely down the alley for looking for entrepreneurs who carry social impact. But again, on the education, when we look at them, we look at what is the model? Okay, what do you teach? What is the catchment? How do you, the skill of the business, the entrepreneur, when it's creating the marketing strategy? What is the strategy to keep greenfield, to keep recruiting new students? So we still look at the business model as a company. However, we understand that education is definitely down the alley for the company decision.
Is that okay, ma'am? Is there any more questions for this session?
First, for the investors.
Yes, for the investor side. I'm pretty sure there would be a lot of more questions for the entrepreneurs who has done it on their own. Anything else? No? All right, maybe to close the first session, just one more question for me. Stealing my privilege as a moderator. So, is there any suggestions or advice for potential angel investors out there? Why should they even consider to think about, putting financial return as secondary, but putting social impact as equal balance as well?
It comes from the vision and the heart of the entrepreneur. I think the entrepreneurs can share that. I believe that because I think our business is a business with heart. So I look at the entrepreneurs, or look at myself, is that we want to be a better world. We want to make profit. We want to be sustainable in this business world. Our companies, your companies, my companies, your companies. To do that, we should not forget our surrounding. We should bring impact to our surrounding, to our business ecosystem. And I cannot say simply this is the way to do it, because every business is different. One business is about the sourcing, like Kakoa. My business is about how my audience is becoming better people, is to bring the Indonesian women to become really modern, contemporary women with broad horizon. That's about Femina. Others maybe in the programming is in education is really creating business that make people smarter in art. So it cannot be, there's not no exact formula, but an entrepreneur to come to ANGIN ideally is to understand that they are not only bringing profit for the companies, for the founders, for the shareholders, but also they bring different, they will make a difference to the society.
Thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause for you, So to close the first session, is a little bit of summary. The vision or the philosophy of angel investing is not necessarily about financial return, but it's the balance between social impact as well as sustainability that is proven by their effort to also seek for profitability to sustain their business. And ANGIN itself is not only about funding, but it's actually about education and providing education and a network to support the entrepreneurs itself. The biggest challenge today for many of the social enterprises are on how to scaling up, because one business model can be good at a very small scale, but the question is, are they able to scale up and sustain themselves? And last but not least, if you're interested to seek for funding and from ANGIN, support from ANGIN, some of the areas that they're looking at are strong management, strong entrepreneurship spirit that balances between passion for social impact and sustainability in business, potential for the business to grow, but of course also on how does ANGIN itself can help the business to grow even further. So I think we have heard a little bit more or less from the investor side on what you're looking for when you're helping social enterprises and social businesses. Now we're very fortunate to have 3 great entrepreneurs and social organization leaders to share with us their stories and their journeys about leading their own social enterprises. So here I would like to say hi to Mbak Putri. Hello, Mbak Putri, Mbak Savitri, and as well as Mbak Sabrina. So I think I would like to take this moment to open the second session by allowing yourself to present maybe yourself, your organization, your passion, and what do you even think about this crazy idea of your social enterprise or your social business. So maybe, would you like to take first, Mbak Savitri?
Hi everybody, my name is Savitri, but everybody call me Adit. So I'm co-founder of RAC Digital. RAC is an abbreviation of Random Act of Kindness. The story was I'm in the marketing and communication industry for 14 years. Before I realized that all I do is influence people to buy something unconsciously. And that stopped me on track after 14 years. Yeah, it took me 14 years to realize that I don't want to do that anymore. I want to stay in the marketing and communication consultancy, but I want to help people to choose their purchase and to sell to do their marketing consciously. And therefore we created RAC, which is a digital marketing with a very strong social impact values. And today actually I was invited by JEPI to share how social media impacting the social impact businesses in a very short 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to share that. Okay, actually this is just what we use to maybe give a structure to what Svida has been sharing. That actually for RAC, we want to approach brands, profitable brands, and we want to help them do social impact marketing approach. So we do not work with only NGOs. And to answer Mustopo, we believe, yes, that definitely the profit-oriented company can do a social impact marketing approach. It doesn't have to be on a business model only and make them as social businesses. But I believe a profit-oriented company can at least do social impact marketing approach. Why? Because by doing that, they are touching their target audience, they are touching the community, and they are touching the society and environment, which in the end give them positive outcome, and it gives them back business impact, profitable, and give them social impact. That is something that Svida has been very much put strongly, that it gives them heart, it gives them reason for their audience to love. And it gives the audience other reason to choose that brand instead of other brands. And that is what we believe, and that is what we want to do for profit-oriented brand in Indonesia. And why brands should care? This is a data that we get from Hafaz Media. I'm sure you're familiar with that. They said that only 20% of global brands noticeably improve people's quality of life. Only 20%. And most people would not care if 70% of the brand cease to exist. So if your company, if your brand to be shut down today, nobody will even realize that. And you need to give another reason for the audience to love your brand. And that is by giving positive social impact to the audience and to society. And also, why should the brand care? Because the consumer behavior toward product has changed. This is what we believe the shifting from the consumer side. Initially, essentially, consumers have needs and the product have differentiation. And then it evolves to something that consumers want to be associated with brands that have purpose. And it is how I get to social media and how people in Indonesia now we are one of the biggest social media users. And we are, in social media, all the audience want to be associated with brand with purpose. I would love to, you were asking about, is it a trend? Is it a phase? In my opinion, when I founded REC, it's a necessity. There are no other way. We are part of this world, we are part of the society, and we need to move towards something that is positive. And so maybe the marketing people will think it's as a phase, as a trend in the marketing, but I believe this is a necessity. And we have worked, REC have worked with many multinational brands who started to believe that also. And they are beginning to trust their brands into doing something is positive impact. As long as we maintain the sustainable profit, we maintain their business objective, and then we give them a social impact, they will go with it. So to maybe answer what's the impact of social media for social impact businesses, the word social derives from the Latin word socii, which means allies. And that's how I think social media can give so very strong impact to social impact businesses. You find allies through social media. This is the characteristic of social media. I'm not going to bore you with this. But if we are finding allies and using the social media asset as how it's supposed to be, we can find allies. And by telling the story, I mean, I look at Kakoa and I see that so many beautiful stories behind the brand that can and need to be told, and to win over the audience and to give them reason why I should leaning toward Kakoa instead of something else. I would like to share with you a little bit of study cases, the one that we did with WWF and Green Kampung of Nadio Tagalong for Earth Hour. It's very simple. We want everybody's jumping into the wagon of Earth Hour. Everybody, brands, B2C audiences, and we just want to show what is the impact of the hashtag. As simple as that. We are creating a website that virtually show that the more people join and using the hashtag, there's a visualization of the world getting greener. Just a visualization, but what I want to show you, the power of social media, is that within 24 hours, the track had been tracked more than 250,000 tweets using the hashtag, and it reached 739 million unique user in the world in 24 hours. And that's how when you tell the story and you committedly using a hashtag or using an identifier, you can actually track and see how big is the impact that campaign used, or how big is the impact that the story used. Awareness might sound, maybe white anything might sound, just an awareness, but in changing perception, in changing behavior, creating this kind of awareness is huge in 24 hours. I think that's what I can share today. And also, of course, the earned media value that we have for the campaign. Thank you very much.
Before that is slightly, please, one quick question. Why are you interested in, I see that you're saying social business is a necessity, it's not a trend anymore. Why are you yourself being passionate about it? What makes you interested to dwell more and spread more words about social impact and doing good business?
Okay, I've been volunteering and supporting many NGOs for some time, for a long time, and then actually it hits that every person in this room, every personality can contribute by creating something. And people think usually when they're thinking of the word creating, they think of creating a product. But in my specialty is consultancy in marketing, and I would like to contribute to that, the betterment of the world through what I can do. And that's why we started with JAC. It's a marketing consultancy company for social impact.
Thank you very much, Ms. Savitri.